So we're back once again. Let's try and find Mr. Paul Pirie. So we're back. Hopefully we're going to get Paul on very, very soon. There he is. Good evening, Mr. Pirie. Mr. Pirie.
Hello.
Mr. Pirie. Let me turn my music off. I'm getting carried away here.
Can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you perfectly fine. How are you?
I'm good. Keep it down though, because I've snuck into my neighbour's house. I'm kidding. I couldn't. The signal was fine. Everything was fine. I just didn't seem to work.
But now we're live.
Yes, we are alive, and I'm
in your neighbour's house.
I'm kidding. I was doing a joke just to try and make somebody laugh because they've just been looking at you. Your
so
big
far,
finger going like this.
Fun. I get you. I
See?
get you. See.
See,
We'll give it a couple of minutes just because we had a few people come online and then we had to get rid of them whilst we sorted this live chat out. So,
cool.
Good evening to Liz, who's just joined us, and good evening to Nikki. We've had a couple of technical malfunctions to start the evening, but we are going to crack on in true professional style. Very soon.
Hi, Ben. Yeah.
Let's just give it another 2 minutes. Can we just have a little sound check, Ben? Is that sounding okay? Yes, it looks like yes, all good.
Oh,
Right, so I think we are going to make a start. So good evening to everybody and welcome to Straight Talk. I've been wanting to do this for some time. Obviously, since Sober as Fun was born, it's about providing, you know, entertainment for people that don't drink for whatever reason or just fancy a night off the booze, you know, and it hadn't been done. And I've worked with a few cracking people over the years in the entertainment industry. And there's one man that when I had this crazy idea, I asked him, would he come on board and would he do a show with us? And I've got the poster up there, Paul, the very first show, Sunday, the 16th of December.
I remember that very day.
That very first show. And from that, yes, we've gone from strength to strength. So I am going to bring Paul in now. He's been very patient with us, waiting down there. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening. How are we, Martin? Hello, everyone.
Very well. And first of all, Paul, I've just got to say thank you very much for agreeing to do this. You know,
yeah.
I just think it's important that yes, we provide fun and nights out for people that don't want to drink, but behind that, we know the reason that Sober as Fun was born. I'd had my struggles with alcohol, and I've known you for quite a while, Paul. I'm trying to think how many years it was, and I'm thinking round about the 15 mark-ish.
Could be. Well, no, I would. I mean, God, you must have drank a lot because I've only lived here for 10 years. So, you know, I don't think it's 15. It was 10 years I've lived here. So it would have been first when I moved here. It would have been around about that time. So it's about 10 or 11 years.
10, 11 years. Well, there you go. We got there in the end. And
unless you meant 15 minutes.
And, you know, for the viewers that don't know, before I started this crazy idea, I worked in entertainment and I worked for an entertainment company that provide comedy nights. And this is where I've met Paul. And I'll be honest with you, Paul, we lost contact for quite a while. I didn't know what what journey you was on.
Yeah.
Likewise, you didn't know
Yeah.
where I was. So, Paul, basically, I just want to ask you, from the time of obviously being in entertainment, how many years have you actually been a stand-up now?
Professionally.
Yeah.
Professionally, probably I'd say semi-professional. Then I came here, so it was probably about 8 years, 9 years professionally.
Oh
But I've
yes.
been doing it for 20. Well, I've been doing it since I came out the beef curtains.
And I've got to ask you, alcohol was, working in the entertainment industry. People said to me, and I used to say, well, it just goes with the job, doesn't it? Everybody drinks when they're working. And
yeah,
was that like it for you?
kind of. Actually, I didn't really recognize it because I used to work in pubs, so drink was always there. I'm Scottish, so stereotype. There was always booze. The difference is it wasn't frowned upon. Like if you're a bus driver and you have a couple of pints, going to be frowned upon. But if it was encouraged, you walk in a green room, free booze. Not all the time, but a lot of time there was free booze, or you'd have a couple of pints before the gig. So it was nobody went a bit much, But so you could do it. It's one of the only jobs you could actually, unless you're a wine taster, it's the only job you can actually do when you could drink and nobody would care. Look, if you're getting hammered and chopping up lines and all that kind of stuff and shooting up in the corner, I think somebody would go, what you're doing. But
I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so. So
depends on the green room.
Indeed. So when did you? People used to say to me also, when did you know that you crossed that line that drinking had become too much and it started to have an effect on your life? Did you actually recognise, or I was blinkered for so long until a lot of consequences come in.
Well, you don't. You kind of like the romance of it. You like the rock and roll stories. You like to read about people that are like heroes, like the Oliver Reeds, like the pop stars and all that kind of rock stars. You look at all them, you read their stories, and you hear things about them, and you think that's what you are. You don't hear the story about them crawling about in their own shit, spewing up and crying for their mums and stuff. You just hear the Rolls Royce in the swimming pool. So you think that's your life, and you think, well, look, they lived up till they're 60 odd, 70 odds, and they were rock and roll. So you kind of think that in your head. So you kind of believe that. And then when you're on stage, you're thinking you're having a good gig and people are coming up and buying you free drinks and going, that was awesome. You kind of ride that wave and think that's part of it. You think that's the gift. You get away with it because you are who you are. And it starts to build up, and then you start abusing it. Then you start wrecking things. You start having 2 bottles of wine before going on stage and thinking you're getting away with it. Sometimes you would, and then you start to realize, I can't remember doing that gig last night. Then you realize, oh, your money's gone again. Then you realize you've missed the bus, but you never blame booze. You go, it's part of the game.
Yeah, I do remember, because those of you that don't know, Paul was signed to a comedy company I used to work for, and he was one of the comics on the roster. And I can recall them quite, us struggling to get hold of you, Paul, on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
And at that stage, I wasn't involved in any of the booking side of it, but I do. It kind of got noticed that it progressively got harder to get in contact with you, your reliability, and it's just so good to see you on this journey now, which, we're both sharing, which is, absolutely magical, and I wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest with you. But a lot of people possibly watching, or once this gets put up on YouTube, might have a lot of people, especially in this time, lockdown. What has lockdown been like for you, Paul?
Um, it's a weird one because wait till I'm going to sit down because I was trying to dick about with my phone to get it properly, and so I'm going to grab a seat. Is this all right if I balance my phone here? Does that look? Is that all right?
That is beautiful, Paul.
Awesome. I look like a barcode. Every time I go past, beep. What was the question again? Forgot I was going to
Lockdown. Because obviously, you know, a lot of people, you know, we are still in lockdown, coming out slowly, but it has been a test. It has been a testing time, you know. There's probably people out there, or people that listen to this, that like a drink and they didn't take their drink into the stage or realise that they had an illness, you know, like we did. So how have you actually felt during lockdown? Because I know, like, work-wise, it's just not happening. I know you've done a couple of shows online, but what's it been like for you, Paul?
It's let's look at the positives first.
We have to look at the positives.
We do. The positives are I get to see my kids more, which is great. Because I'm usually away. My wife Kate's been working and also home, but she's a teacher, so she's been going in the front line now and again. So I still get to see her more. That's a positive. Weekends are a nightmare because like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe a Sunday, I'd be gigging, so I'm bouncing off the walls. I feel like I'm trapped in this. But I can't show off to anybody. My kids, I can't do improvisational comedy in front of my kids, you know, because they just think I'm just mental. So I've got this ego that needs to get rubbed, and there's nobody to do it. So before I was a comic, a full-time professional comic. Now I just generally feel like an unemployed funny person, and I've nobody to express the thoughts and the excitement that's in my head to just let it out. I mean, don't we all suffer from anxiety? Mine's is just playing up just now because I'm going insane. But I wasn't very good at anything else. I wasn't very good at school. I can't do anything with my hands. That's what the toilet paper's for. And I can't. I'm not skilled at anything else. So for my part in the back, it's 200 people going like that and going, well done. And that's the only thing I ever get to know that I've done something that's appreciated. And I've got an ego. I'm shy and I get nervous very easy, but I've got an ego because I'm in control of it. And now I'm kind of in this wall, but drinks never even crossed my mind, you know, which is a good thing. I'm glad I don't drink now because here I would have been dangling from a tree by now. But
this is it.
You know,
this is it. I think if I was still drinking lockdown, it would be horrendous, you know. And you know, just to touch on people that maybe think they're drinking a bit more than they should during lockdown. Do you think lockdowns have a big effect on people drinking alcohol? Do you think?
No, people will always drink. I think it gives people an excuse to say that they're drinking the same amount they've always drunk. You know what I mean? It's that going, oh, because of lockdown, I've had 17 lagers when usually I'd only have 15 and a half. You know, it's sorry, I'm turning the seat. It's that kind of thing. I think people will probably have a drink on a Tuesday when they wouldn't usually, but they won't binge at the weekend. You know, they'll have 4 lagers on a Tuesday when they wouldn't have any, and then when the weekend comes, they'll probably have the same amount. But I don't think people are drinking more. I think when you start making up excuses for alcohol, that's when you know you've got a problem with it. You know, because I don't think people shouldn't start worrying and going, oh, you know, I've been having an extra glass of wine a night, and I think I've got a problem. If you think that, you probably don't. You know, you'll be all right. And if you continue to do it and you still think you've got a problem, then you've got a problem. My hand looks weird when it's doing that. Not really my hand. And I think that's the thing. It's not the amount you drink with a problem sometimes. I know people that drink, they'll drink a lot more than I ever drank, but it's not a problem for them because they still work, they've still got their family. They haven't bruised themselves, and they're still making a lot of money because they'll die because of health. You know, obviously their liver's going to explode at some point, but in a sense, it's not getting in the way of anything. And I think even if you drink 3 lagers a night and it starts to be a problem, when you start realizing you've no money but you're still going out and buying 3 lagers, when your health isn't very good but you're still buying 3 lagers, when you're doing stupid things on 3 lagers and you still do it, you've got a problem with drink, you know. So it's not about the amount you drink. In a sense, I mean, of course it is. I mean, if you start drinking aftershave, you got a problem.
Just a bit. So going back to your story, Paul, when did you actually realise that you had a problem with alcohol? How did you recognise it?
There was one time when I ran out of wine, and I stuck my fingers down my throat and drank my own spew. Too much, but in your head you're going, oh, it's just because I got a really bad hangover. And I did it once, but I still drank again because of the problem. And then you just think, oh, it's a bit rock and roll, but I'll be fine. And I woke up in Edinburgh. God, when was this? 2017, the 14th of August, and on a floor. And I was doing the usual shaking things, and I had a hangover. The night before, I put my hand in my pocket. I had hardly any money when I had a lot of money the night before. I was thinking of excuses about what I'm going to tell the wife. I'll say I'll get back payment or something like that. And then I had enough money to get 2 bottles of rosé, so I thought I'll get that. I was going back to London that day and just feeling really bad. And then it just hit me: do I want to keep doing this? That dark cloud that hangs over you, even when you're not lying, the back of your head, you know, you're fucking everything up. And that's worse than the hangover. Worse than anything is just constantly just backtracking or bullshitting about being
the
late.
Lies.
The lies is worse than the hangover, dude. You know what I mean? It's just a horrible, horrible thing, and it haunts you. And even lie when you don't mean to. You know what I mean? You just lie about anything because it's just
you forget your line and you tell those lies you've told before. And I got to a stage where I'd actually forgot. I'd run out of actual lies. I kept on using my old favourite lines, forgetting that I probably just used that yesterday. Madness.
I remember saying my gran had died when I was late for meeting my gran. You know what I mean? It gets that mental. And then I had 2 choices in my head. And the one thing that was scaring me, I always thought, if I admit I've got a problem, I'll never be able to do it again. I'll never be able to do it. So I thought, maybe if I calm it down. I tried to calm it down once, and I'd lasted about 10 weeks, thought it was a genius, and then it was the drunkest I ever was for 2 years straight. And I just thought, I'm going to bite the bullet. Now, I know somebody who was in AA, so I phoned them up, said I've got a problem, I needed help. Once I did that, I thought, well, it's out and open now. I can't drink anymore, in a sense. So I'm convincing myself that if I do this, because I didn't want to drink. You know, I didn't want to have that horrible paranoid. I thought I was going mad. There's a thing called wet brain. You know, you had a wet brain. It's when even when you stop drinking, your brain's that damaged because there's a spongy bit of your brain that alcohol can get into, and it can give you dementia, or it can give you whatever. See, when you stop drinking, you're still drunk, you know. Sorry, things like that were scaring me. But then I would get drunk, forget about it. So all that was weighing up, and I thought, I just want to stop now. I need help. I can't do this on my own, you know. So
that's massive, isn't it? Being able to actually ask for help and put the hand up, you know.
The fun starts to come out, doesn't it?
It sounds so simple. Like, why didn't we do it before all these years ago?
No.
But, you know, it took me a shit ton of consequences to actually, I still couldn't put my hand up. You know, I had to let it get that bad. And a few of you know, I got arrested for something that wasn't mine. And it wasn't until that happened and had that wake-up call that I then got help. But like you say, by being able to ask for help, you know, that is the first thing, you know. But no, massive well done to you, mate, for actually realising.
And you, which did I do the pointer finger thing? You as well. You know, you've done amazing. And this, I mean, look, we didn't know, well, we knew each other and we'd hung out, but only when we were wasted. So I can't even remember half the time we've met. But you contacted me when you were starting your journey, you know, and look at us now.
No,
you know,
exactly.
happy as we've been, healthy as we've been as well, you know.
And I'm going to ask, how long are you now, Paul? How long sober?
How long am I? I am about 5'9". I well, next month will be 3 years. 14th of August 2007 was the day I woke up on a carpet, feeling like shit.
Fantastic, fantastic. And if there's people listening who have had enough, they're getting these consequences come in, what advice would you give to people?
You see, you can I could give them tips, I suppose, but as my son's coming in. Hello.
Sorry, I didn't know you.
It's okay. It's not live or anything, Oliver. He was just coming in with booze. I'm kidding. What I do now is that if I get a little bit tempted, I think about. They always say, "Don't think about the future. Think about right now," and that's fine. But I always think the lowest I've ever been, and I always remember that moment going, "Oh shit, I'm covered in my own shit and everything like that," and going, "Do I ever want to be here again?" No. And I think if I drink again, I know that at one point I will be at that. I'll regret it. I've done nearly 3 years of not touching it. If I have a sip, it'll be horrible. So I would think about that's now. But to stop drinking, you've just got to turn around and say to somebody. You've just got to turn around at somebody and say, "I've got a problem." Go to AA. I don't do AA now, but I did it for a while. Go to look up meetings. Go sit there. Get surrounded by people that are in the same state as you. Some are worse, some aren't as bad, and you hear all their stories, and you know that there's a lot of people that are wired up like us. You know that are,
there is, and I'm just going to stop you there. Interesting you say that, wired up like us, because there'll be some people listening or might watch this back who do enjoy a glass of wine, you know, and they can have that and go to bed. And it's understanding that we are wired differently, you know. When I was in treatment, like the first thing, as soon as they said, and they talked about once you put one in, it creates that allergy and that phenomenal craving that you cannot stop. And as soon as I heard that, I just went, do you know what? That makes sense. And it is an illness. And some people are just, "Oh, no willpower, mate. You must have had that. No willpower." And, you know, it's got absolutely nothing to do with that. Alcoholism, addiction, you know, it is an illness, and it is a killer. And through being on my journey, I've lost people, you know, through alcoholism or addiction, and I'm sure you've heard of it. And, you know, that's bottom line, you know. If you can't ask for help, it's a sad place to be. A sad place to be.
That's the thing, because some people go, "Yeah, but who do I ask?" You know, you just walk in and you get nervous. You walk in, you probably won't say anything. You just sit there and you just listen, and you just hear, and you go, "Oh, fuck, somebody's like me, or somebody's done something worse than me."
This is it. I remember being in that first meeting, and all of a sudden, they sound, hang on, and you just, they've done stuff worse than me, and I was like, I thought I was the worst. I thought I got up to the most shit. And
I remember I was thinking, "Oh God, I better make up something that I've done that's mental." You know what I mean? Because I'm a comic and we've got egos. The first guy standing there saying, "No, so then I burnt down my house, and then, you know, and that's when the wife left me, and that's when I poked my eyes out," and I'm thinking, "Oh shit, I'm up next," and I'm going, well, I remember I set fire to a multi-story building and then poked eyes out and chopped my penis off, and you know what I mean. You're just because you're panicking. You know, I gotta be worse. That's what it's about. You know what I mean. Just somebody's got a worse story, somebody's got a nice story. But what's nice about the rooms, what I remember about them, what's nice about them is that everybody's there for the same reason. You know,
like-minded people sat all around. And I remember when I was active, I used to joke to my mates, yeah, I'll see you in AA one, you know, not even thinking forward. And, you know, that word AA and alcoholic, it's my stereotype. I'm sure a lot of people's, you know, when you was that bloke on the park bench with a brown paper bag, but it's not, you know, it's, you know, the disease of alcoholism and addiction.
The only difference is, this is what people always say, to go, oh, well, God. It's not a guy drinking a tin of Kestrel Super, 9 strength in a park is just the same as somebody with a crystal glass full of gin with a £1 million mansion around him. It doesn't matter, because you're both going to end up the same way. You know, you're going to end up with the shakes, you're going to end up hating life, and you're going to end up miserable. You've just got a better roof to look at when you fall back. You know, that's the only difference. Alcohol is alcohol, and it becomes. I am so glad that I'm an alcoholic. I'm so glad I admit I'm an alcoholic. I love telling people that, because it's not to be ashamed of. Because if you don't tell them, and you don't admit you are, you'll be covered. What's more embarrassing, walking about naked, covering your own shit, shouting at strangers, or just walking up to somebody sober as hell going, oh no, I don't drink, I'm an alcoholic? You know, oh, that's embarrassing.
I love this.
So I
love this,
being naked, look in your face, you know?
And I love this. And this is obviously why I asked you to come on, because you know, you're like me. I find through people knowing what I am, it just makes everything so much easier. You haven't got to explain, and I'm sure, you know, you've had it. The beautiful thing is, you know, people that struggle, your friends or they come to you, and we were useless. We couldn't help anybody, and being able.
Isn't it awesome when you do something stupid like miss a train or miss a bus, right? And then you phone your partner or you phone your mate or you phone whatever and you go, sorry, I missed the bus. And you tell the truth. And then they believe you because they know you don't drink anymore. You know, so we'll still fuck up. You know what I mean? If I lose a wallet now, right, I'll go, honey, I've just lost my wallet. And I won't get, I'll be annoyed, I'll be pissed off. She'll go, fuck, you've lost your wallet. She wouldn't swear, wife doesn't swear. She's very nice. And but the difference is, you know, it wasn't through alcohol. You know, if I do a gig and somebody phones up or somebody says, did you see that gig? Something the manager wasn't happy. I will automatically go, well, I know I was fine because I wasn't drinking. So if anything fucks up, they can never go, that guy's, even if you didn't fuck up. If one wee hint of alcohol, they automatically just go, it's him or her or whoever, you know. And now there's no fear of that, you know. That fear is gone.
That fear, that dreaded fear, and for, you know, people listening in that aren't in recovery, you know, that fear is what we've managed to work out. That is what crippled us for all those years, and that's why we drank so much. We were scared of everything. But, you know, to be able to live a life, you know, clean and sober, and not have that horrible fear. I remember I couldn't work out why. If I had something important to do the next day, whether it was an interview or go for a meeting or something, and I'd say to myself, I'm just going to have a couple of cans tonight. I'm not going to go silly. And then I would end up getting more wasted. And I just never, or I've got a big day tomorrow, I'm going to a festival, I don't want to drink a lot tonight. Why is it I keep doing that? The fear, just of the unknown. And that was massive. That was massive. And it is just recognising, and as you say, I'm pleased I'm an alcoholic like you. I really am. And it's something that I would never, ever thought I would be saying, especially on a video chat that's going to go online. But it's just a beautiful thing to know that what I am, and if I stick one in me, I play that tape forward.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in that position, in that place,
100%.
you know, where I was. So, no, brilliant. So, Paul, just going back to stand-up, we discussed it, you know. So going on stage after a few drinks or a couple of bottles of wine, to going on stage sober, how would you compare that? How can you compare that?
It's a completely different ride. Now now you get the buzz and the high that is a natural endorphin excitement. So there's that for a start, right? Whether it's a good gig or a bad gig, it's mainly always a good gig of yours. But timing's better. Your free form is better. Your writing's better. You take your time. You're not scared. Or it's weird. It's not that you're not scared because you're overly confident when you're on booze. So sometimes you can go off on this big tangent and repeat gags and not care because you're pissed and go, I'm a rock star. But now you're passionate about it, and then when you go off on a tangent, it's more coherent and it means more because it's not you just going, so this living off my booze, and now you're just going, here's an idea, because my brain's fucked anyway. You know, it is. I wake up in the morning and get eaten by my cornflakes. That's the way my brain works, you know, and so I just kind of go, you know, and when you're drunk, it comes out as, but now it comes out as which is the same thing but slower. It's just a nicer experience after the gig. I can count the money I've made. If it's cash, if it's junglers, fuck that. That'll never happen. If it's that's how long ago I played junglers. I was drunk. Maybe they did pay me. I come home at the right time. I speak to people. I don't text people when I'm drunk or send messages or anything like that. I get home.
And you actually get home, yeah.
I get home, you know. I don't just ignore the wife because she's saying, where are you? Oh, man, I missed this. You know what I mean? When I'm in a gutter someplace. And, you know, I remember Birmingham waking up in a gutter with my specs all smashed and my phone had gone. And it was 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to get back to the train station, and what's going through my mind is not to get home. It's like, what's open? We're going to get a drink, so I can just kind of relax a bit, you know.
That first thought that we used to have, and you know, as we know, it's just all about our thinking. You know, what was going on. Oh, that seems a great idea. I'll tell you. You know, I know what I'll do. I'll get some more booze and crack on.
I'll put a battery right on my filling. See what that's like. That was sore. Do you know I'm going to do that again? You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it 3 times. You'd do it twice just to make sure, you know. But with booze, you know what I mean? You go. There's my nipples. You know what I mean? And then you go, oh, I feel like crap. I'm going to do that again. That was fun. We're mental. We are mental. Why do we do it? You know, you see somebody, a normal person that has a hangover, they go, never again. Probably a month. I didn't have a hangover for 26 years, you know? Then I turned 27. No, I didn't have a hangover for 26 years. And somebody said to me, they goes, I'd have a drink, right? We'd go to the place and we'd all be fucked. And I'd come in and they'd go, oh, how you feeling, Paul? Oh, fuck. I'd go, a glass of wine, please. And they'd go, mate, are you mental? That's brave. And I go, brave? You're the ones that are going through the hangover. Whoa. You know, I wasn't brave. I was the opposite. I was cheating. I was going, I can't handle the hangover. You know? And that is your excuse as well, going, oh, well, this is going to get me through it. And then you can't sleep at night because your guts are killing you. The pain you get around you. I'm lucky, man. I didn't, my liver's all right. You know what I mean? My lungs are kind of fine. I'm lucky. The amount of times I'd fallen downstairs in the tube station, fell in front of cars, you know what I mean, broke my spec. I used to walk about with specs like that and a beer down here where I could hide my whiskey, you know, it's... And
you talk about that pain, that physical pain, but that mental pain, just talking about it, how lucky are we to not have that today?
It's great.
Can't put a price on it. Cannot put a price on it. So I'm going to come on now to obviously I had this crazy idea back in 2018 to try and do a comedy night with no booze. And you was the first person that I text, because I can't remember how I found out that you had stopped drinking. I found out somehow, and you know, I've known you for quite some time. And what were your first thoughts when I said the comedy club no booze? Because it hasn't been done, has it?
No. I mean, obviously I was excited about it because it's in Essex. I live in Essex. It's a gig. At first I thought it's probably going to be full of a lot of people that go to AA, which is fine because I've got material on that. But then you're thinking, how do I make them laugh? Because I don't want it to be full of people. Because in your head you're going, I don't want to be just like AA when everybody's going, I've done this, I've done that. So I thought I'm going to bring my A game to it. It's going to be exciting. And then I thought, what the act's like? Do the act's going to be all right with nobody drinking? The audience going to be all right? Because it's not going to just be full of recovering alcoholics as well. Because you start thinking their families are going to be there, your family's going to be there, and so you go in. I think it's going to be good fun. But then doing the gig's completely different. It's amazing because it's an audience that listens, that don't heckle, that don't get drunk, you know, that just kind of, and you don't see a guy every 2 seconds get up and going for a line in the toilet, you know what I mean? And then coming back, Charlie Davy's face going, I'm the king of this fucking, you know, none of that shit going on. It's people just sitting going, well, let's listen. And if they think you're funny, they will genuinely laugh. And everybody on the night is funny. Most comics that have been going for years are funny. Some of them you have to listen to. I know acts that are geniuses. They're some of the funniest acts that I know in the circuit, and they make me genuinely piss myself as a sober person. And I've seen them struggle on gigs because the audience are just not focused on them, you know? And people think comedy is about, hey, you're a wanker. And it's not. It's you've got to really listen to what people are saying, you know. And those gigs definitely 100% work because the audience, because we're the entertainment. The booze isn't the entertainment. The Charlie isn't the entertainment. You're not there to pull somebody. You're not there to spike somebody's drink with a hypno. You know what I mean? You're not there to do anything but sit, socialize for a bit. The minute the lights go down and the stage light goes up, the show starts.
This is it. This is it. Because, you know, I spent many, many years working in the comedy industry, as you know, setting up the comedy nights. And the amount of times that, because remember, I started, how many years ago was that? It must be knocking 18, 19 years ago when I used to work the door on the local comedy club in town. And that's how I started. I remember I was always getting asked to go and tell that person to shut up, to remove that person from the club. And, you know, for being on this journey, I just had this idea, but when I was drinking and using, I'd have all these great ideas, but they never come to anything, you know. And I just thought, I want to give this one a go and just really try it. And very interesting what you said about, you know, our audience. Your head went straight away. They're all going to be in recovery. They'll be in AA, blah, blah, blah. And when we first started doing these shows, yes, the core audience was, but do you know what we're seeing now? Just people that want to go out and have a really good night with professional comedians and just not have the carnage that comes around it. So where we're at with it is building that crossover and just encouraging people. Because going back to that first show, was December 2018. I think there's about 40-ish there that we managed to get in. Yeah. And our last show, because obviously we haven't been able to do any events because of lockdown, you just come back from overseas. You was absolutely shattered on the Christmas special last year. Yeah. And you had 100 people in that room, sober, laughing out loud. And it brings me on to the doubters, because I hear stuff around the circuit and I hear people. Somebody said that they saw a comedian, they were at some holiday park, and he was talking about the sober shit that some of the comedians are doing. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, but it's only us that's actually doing it. But I think until they actually experience coming and playing a night, they aren't actually going to understand, are they?
That's the thing. That's the minute somebody disses something that they've never done, it's because they're scared. You know,
Fear.
and of course it is fear again. You know, oh, they're so it won't work unless they're drunk. Why do you not do? So therefore, when you do it and it doesn't work, you'll have an excuse. You know, it's look, do it, see it works, and then you'll notice that there was nothing to worry about. It's because people will put a wall in front of something to give them excuse to make themselves feel better. Of course, you're gonna if you think, oh, it might not work, let's give it a shot. The online gigs, for example, online gigs that everybody's doing. I even said to my wife, I went, oh no, it's going to be useless. I like doing this and that. And she just looked at me and goes, just fucking do it, you know. And I went, all right. And the only reason I was saying that is because I was booting the wall up by going, it's not for me. My genius is running about the stage and shouting at people, and I've got to live off the audience. And she just looked at me, just fucking do it. And then you go, all right, if I do it and I fail, I know it's not for me. But I'll know I failed because of that, you know, because I'm not good at that. And then when you do them, you think they're all right. You go, all right, I'm actually quite good at that. But the reason I built that wall up is because I was scared. Because I thought, if I don't get people laughing, I've got an excuse because I'm used to an audience. And that's the difference. And that's why people are saying that about sober is fun. They're going, oh, it won't work. That won't work. That's not for me. Because
That brings me on.
Audiences. They want people.
That brings me on to because I said to you, I hear some stuff around the circuit, but some of it, the amount of stuff that's happening, and do you know all this? I'm not even going to go into it that you see on all these forums and that. But what is the general consensus now with these alcohol-free nights? What do you hear?
I think right now the comedy circuits went a bit implode, but some of it really so, some of it but mental. I think a lot of people are trying to censor a little bit too much. It goes, you know what I mean? I think I don't know. It's all who knows if gigs are even going to happen? You know,
this is it. This is it. We know
it will happen. They, of course, 100%. I was saying this to somebody today on the phone. People need to laugh. They need entertainment, right? They need to. Regardless of how it's made and how it's done, people's lives it does something to the inside. It's part of their health. They need to smile. They need to laugh. They need to listen to music. They need all this entertainment inside them because it's an important part of life. Not just about some cool person on stage going boom, boom. It's a part of life, and people will need it. So it'll grow. Maybe it'll be under a different style of roof, or maybe it'll be outside. Maybe they might do comedies up trees. Who knows? But there will be a way to do it. It'll be the exact same idea, but maybe it's a different surrounding. That's the only thing is, but comedy will still go on, and music will still go on. See, it'll go on. So right now, everybody's going, comedy's banned, because that's it. Comedy is banned. Nothing. We can't do anything. No, nobody's allowed to do anything. That's just Facebook saying that, remember. Whatever happens in your life, if somebody says something that's awful on stage, then fuck them, you know what I mean? But if you say something, if you construct a way to say something that's funny, that isn't, it's a very, not to, I don't want to be nasty to people, but the world will never go, oh, look at this wonderful sun. Could you not say that, please? That person is blind. You know, if it gets like that, the world's going to be fucked. We're just going to be walking about like that. So there's got to be a certain way. But like, don't be racist, don't be sexist, don't be homophobic, don't be a cunt, right? And then let's just get on with the world. You know, let's still mock, let's have mockery, and the minute somebody's offended for somebody else, that's what the problem is. But it's still allowed. You know, freedom of speech is still there. It's just there's certain. I was saying this the other day. Somebody goes, oh, freedom of speech has gone mad. You shouldn't be allowed to say anything. It's going, well, you can't walk into school and a teacher go like this to the little kids. Morning, cunts, look at the size of my cock. You would complain about the teacher, wouldn't you? You would, wouldn't you? You'd go, that teacher's it. But he just said something, he didn't do anything. That's where people are, fucking up themselves. You know what I mean? The comedy will still be comedy, and they'll still find ways.
I think once this is over, like you said, people need and they want to go out and they want to have a good time. And I think it'll be back bigger than better. I really, really do. You know, I've given up thinking a way of how to do it. I'm just waiting. You know, I've got a few dates.
Wait till the dust settles. Comedians will still be able to cross that line because people want them to. The people that don't want us to cross the line are the ones that want us to cross the line the most. You know, everybody sees an ambulance and a fire engine go past and go, I hope nobody's hurt, but I hope it's a big fire. Because we're human, and that's how our brains work. We're a little bit nasty. Now and again, we got to see it. You know, it's
and it just, you know, it brings the importance of laughter, like you said, the importance of laughter to anybody, but especially if you're sober, because one of the fears I had when I actually stopped drinking was I had the fear of what's going to happen if I don't drink. I had the fear of drinking or not drinking. What is going to happen? And it's just the fact of knowing that you're sober, right? But you can do as much as you want, if not more, but just not have a drink. And I think, you know, you will agree, like the atmosphere, when you've got a packed showroom of 100 people that are sober, laughing, it's powerful.
Of course it is.
It is powerful.
You know, it's aimed at the night and not aimed at the person next to you or the fight they're going to have in 5 minutes. It's the night.
And yeah, people just think, am I going to laugh again? I'll put the booze down, you know, life's going to be boring. And you know what? Yeah. It is actually fun. It is actually fun. I never thought it would be, but wow, yeah. So, Paul, we've chatted on for quite some time, and
awesome.
I just really want to thank you for coming on and having a chat. It took us a while to get you on.
Sally Baker, she's what? Sally Baker, if she's still watching, Sally Baker gave me this for my birthday.
That's very nice, Paul. What does it say?
It says, for Fox's sake. Because I used to do a material about that. And her sister tends to get that.
No, thank you very much, Paul. And hopefully I will see you very, very soon on the road once we get another show up and running. But obviously, you know, thanks again. And if you are listening and you haven't checked us out yet, do have a look. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we have got a YouTube channel that's just gone up, which this will be going on to. So please find us. So for the very last time, thank you very much, Paul, for joining us, and thanks to everybody for listening. This has been Straight Talk. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye. 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 Bye.